Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Continue. Let's share our screen. Okay, so everyone, you know why you're here by now. This is week 8 of the Planting Our Seeds program in relationship with Grandmother's Voice. We are so glad that you have joined us, not just today, but for the last 8 weeks. Kudos to you for making the commitment. I just want to shoot a special thanks. I noticed that United Way, again, I just want to give thanks to your staff team. It looks like you have a majority of your full-time staff team have joined us for virtually every week, so thank you so much for your commitment and everything you guys do in community. It's so cool that you have decided to join us for that entire time. My name is Daniel. I assist the town in moderating some of the town's free virtual programs. Join with myself, Nabil, and Tanya, my other coworkers with the town of Oakville. We'll just quickly go through some important information to begin. Nabil, I will start to you, sir.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you everybody for joining us. I will start with the land acknowledgement, and as always, will make myself vulnerable to share a reflection and would love to get feedback, if any, on how to be better. So, Halton, as we know it today, is rich in its history and modern traditions of many First Nations and Métis. From the lands of the Anishinaabe to the Arawandaran, the Haudenosaunee, and the Métis. These lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in Indigenous history. As we gather here today on these treaty lands, we are in solidarity with our Indigenous brothers and sisters to honor and respect the four directions: lands, waters, plants, animals, and ancestors that walked before us, and all of the wonderful elements of the creation that exist. And as I reflect on what I just read, and even on the last 7 weeks that we have spent together uh, learning so much, I'm left wondering what is next, and how much of what is next is on me to sort of take that next step. Um, I don't know everything there is to know about Indigenous communities in Halton and Oakville. I know so little. So I'm taking it upon myself to learn more about the Mississaugas. I'm taking it upon myself to learn about the land that I'm living in and how is it that I can give back and how I can continue to give voices that I've heard over the course of the last 7 weeks, voices that I've resonated with, and voices that I want to amplify. And I just want to pass on that same reflection to perhaps everybody here to see what are some next steps for you guys, and you guys can reflect and sort of come to something that makes sense for you. And with that, I want to pass it on to Tanya.
Okay, great. So welcome everyone this evening. I just want to review the participation instructions for tonight. We have a lot of people here tonight, so please do use the chat box to enter your questions or comments, and Daniel will get to them throughout the program. Also look for the hand up feature in the chat box if you do want to ask questions. You can also privately message the host, Daniel, to submit questions or inquiries without any interruption. And unless otherwise instructed, please keep yourself on mute because we are a large group and we want to be able to hear our speakers clearly. Also, please respect one another and everyone's perspectives. And also note that this program is being recorded. So if that makes you uncomfortable, turn off your video and mute yourself. Thank you. And I'll pass it on to Daniel for the last slide.
Thank you, Tanya. As we've done at the beginning of every discussion, it's just important that we highlight over the participation agreements we ask you to make in order to be here. First of which is to stay engaged. I've seen that each and every week that we've started to stretch our programs over the 7 o'clock hour. Last week we were just overwhelmed with almost 30 comments we could really struggle to get to, so thank you for that. Also, I know everyone has experienced discomfort in this program, and unfortunately that's something that we have to be able to sit with, especially when we're talking about such difficult conversation, where I do hope today we get a little bit of a chance to celebrate for all that Grandmother's Voice has accomplished, not just in this 8 weeks, but really broadly this year and through time. We ask you to speak your truth, and we ask you to expect and accept non-closure. This is the 8th week. If you're hoping to find all the answers to understanding Indigenous community and culture, I hope you realize that that's not something that can be captured in an 8-week program. And that's something we have to accept because there is a lot of work to do. That is enough from myself and our team. I know everyone is here to listen and learn from Sherry and Jody. Sorry, I'm pausing. I'm just trying to find you guys here to spotlight. I will hand things over to your very capable hands. Go ahead, Sherry and Jody, and thank you again, and congratulations.
Jano,
Hi, everyone.
nice to see you. Nice to see you, Cher.
Welcome. Nice to
See
see you
everyone
too,
here.
Jody.
It's lovely to be here again. I look forward to this day. We'll miss it, but anyway, Thursday has become a theme for us. So we're spending time with our residential school survivors, and it seems that the work that we're doing is really impacting everything, and not just their project, but themselves. And so, you know, as we come together, I just would like to acknowledge the people. It's so important, the people that have come with us on this journey, and you know, were with us before the journey, and the ones that have come along with us. So I actually made a little list. I usually can you know, say them all, but I'd like to just acknowledge United Way for sure. That team, Halton, Hamilton, I'm about to cry. So I just want to say that they believed in us from the minute that we reached out to them. And I think transparently, they were very open, transparent, like everything, just full out saying, we want to support you every way we can. But we needed to understand that they work within a certain system, and so they have continued to be an ear for us, sharing with us ways that for us to understand how we can learn from them, and sharing and ideas and their expertise, and just really the friendship that you know, we're really appreciative that you guys are here, and we really look forward to leaning on you some more. You know, and Town of Oakville for believing in us and being a part, and just, you know, saying yes all the way every day, and everything that we, you know, brought to you was just yes, yes, yes. Some partners that have come forward since we have, you know, started this journey. It's just, you know, amazing to see planting the seeds. The title of this planting the seeds conversation came up, I think, I'm going to say January was when grandmother Renee named it. And then everything else has just, you know, it's full circle. And so thank you to the Town of Oakville, Sustainable Milton, Halton Environment Network, the library, YMCA library. Teresa's been amazing for years. I've known Teresa, and I can't just say amazing, like enough amazing things about her. The Halton Catholic District School Board for sure, Country Heritage Park, Crawford Lake, who continues to bring us what we need, the wood, the benches, the people, the lifting, the everything, delivering for us. Like, it's, you know, we have a community that wants to be involved with each other, and not just, you know, doing work, you know, their work responsibilities. We're reaching out, our community is reaching out much like so much further past the clock. And we're just so grateful. The Earth Walkers, and that's all of the Indigenous and non-Indigenous people who have stepped forward to show up and say, I'm not sure, you know, have the courage and vulnerability to say, I don't know what I can do for you, but, you know, we're here. So sometimes it's just that. And so, you know, today I really want to acknowledge the people, and know that, you know, if it wasn't for everything else that Mother Earth provides for us, you know, all of the other relatives and energies that, you know, come along with Mother Earth, we wouldn't be here. And I think that that's the whole point of what we're trying to do is really bring the people together to pay attention to what's really important. And so, Daniel, I'd really like to, if you could play the video for those of you who knew or don't know, or we entered a contest with the David Suzuki Foundation. It was the first one of its kind. And so last night we found out that we won, and we are so happy. And I was just so grateful that Renee was the one to receive this, grandmother Renee, because this journey that her and I have been on to grow what we're creating came from a dream, that her and I both had. And when I met her, it was, well, I guess our grandmothers wanted us to do this. And so, thankful to Sherry, who has, been really instrumental in everything. And I don't know what my life would be like without you, Sherry. Like, I want to say the sister, but you're my auntie, kind of.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Anyway,
do you mind?
You're my sister.
Do you mind just telling the group what the what you had applied for? Like, what was this award for?
Do you want to tell it, Sherry? I feel like
No,
I've
go
talked
ahead.
enough, but I can't. Okay. So really it was it was a grant for it was like a $5,000 grant with the opportunity to share your vision with David Suzuki, and it was based on just creating a sovereignty, security, whatever it was. And there were so many beautiful programs out there that had been started, but it was really just about Mother Earth. That's what it came down to for us, is creating community, sovereignty, opportunities. But it started last year when we did our ceremony at Crawford Lake about missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and the children, and everything that Indigenous people have endured over the years, and how many people have been lost to it, and the genocide. And just so when we prayed and did our ceremony in the wintertime and did the red tie, we were like, well, like, what do we want to do? What do we want to create here? And it was just this whole package of, let's, if people are creating monuments or memorials, how do we make that really make sense for the people? And so our idea was to really take take land and create a living monument. And that's we started that, but when we did apply, we did say that Jamie at Country Heritage Park gave us the opportunity and said, here's 60 by 30 and 80 acres, and 2 acres to plant on, and what would you do with this? And we said, well, we'd like to start this initiative, and let's just see what we can do. And he was all in, and their organization over there was all in. And so we're really grateful that we had this opportunity.
Announce the winner. So may I open the envelope, and little drum roll, please. The grand prize winner of $5,000, kindly provided by Desjardins, is Indigenous Seeds of Hope, Planting Our Future. Congratulations. And we have none other, I've been told, the grandmother of mothers, of goddesses of all, Renee Thomas Hill, with us tonight. I'm not going to ask you how you're feeling, but you get 5 minutes to present your project and chat with David Suzuki. Take it away.
Sego, sewa gwego, aganadisa youngets, Ogatsioni, Ogonya Dehane. I want to thank the ancestors. I want to thank them for guiding us to help all of us heal so that our mother can heal. This has been our dream for a long time. It's to help all people to come together for the purpose of Mother Earth and the food that sustains us, and the medicines. So we created this garden to bring that forth, to heal all the people, not just Indigenous people, but heal all the people. And that is the way we can help. We can help each other create a better world. And so I'm very, um, I know all the grandmothers have been waiting for this day. And we've done ceremonies for our Mother, the Earth. And I'm honored to see so many people doing their part to help her to become the mother of all. And for all the people that have taken up that role, I want to say with much love and gratitude, you're helping the most important one of all creation is our Mother, the Earth. I had been given words to say, but the words I have to say comes from my heart and from the hearts of all the grandmothers. It is time. It is time for all of us to join hands and to come together for the purpose what our treaties was a long time ago, the two-row wampum. It was as long as the grass grows and the water flows, that all children, it wasn't just indigenous children, that all would be taken care of and provided for. And so I give thanks to the land. That is our mother. I give thanks to the air. That is the breath of creation. And I give thanks for the water. That is our lifeline. And so I am very honored that we are still following the law of life. And so I want to thank each and every one of you. All those that have supported this dream. There are so many. That is unbelievable. People came from all different nationalities that came to stand beside us for this purpose of creating a happier place for all. We have created this garden to recognize the loss, not just the loss of all the children that have gone, but yours, the children in the wars, all of them, because that's what a grandmother. And we had treaties for the children, no wars, especially wars that caused much damage to the land. And so we are very grateful. And I want to say much gratitude to all of you that made this day possible for our Mother, the Earth. And I want to say nyawa.
I don't know if I'm supposed to speak or not, but I thank you so much for those words, Renee. Congratulations to your group. But your words indicate why your group has won this award. It's an understanding, a deep understanding of our place on the planet. I don't know whether this is a time when I was supposed to be speaking or not. Elle, is this the time for me to say whatever I want?
I mean, you can say whatever, whenever. This is beautiful. I mean, I guess that you could also continue this conversation given the fact that that Renee gets a private online meeting with you. And so like we're all caught up in emotions, which is totally valid, and we might just decide to honor that and be thankful and hopeful.
Well, I think that I will have a private meeting with Renee and her group at some point. But I want to take this opportunity really to welcome everyone to this event. I'm speaking to you from the traditional unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish people who cared for the lands and waters around here for thousands of years. I'm so honored to have this opportunity to recognize and celebrate all of the participants in the first ever Future Ground Prize in Ontario, following the success of the Prix de Main contest in Quebec over the past 7 years. Thank you all for taking part and making this inaugural awards program such a success. And of course, congratulations to the winners. I feel that we're all winners as we learn about the breadth and scope of what people are doing in their communities to create a better, sustainable, and more just world. When the David Suzuki Foundation began in 1990, we knew we wanted to work directly with people working at the grassroots level, those who are the heart of the environmental movement. But starting off, we weren't big enough to do that. The David Suzuki Foundation wanted to determine the root causes of our destructive activities so we could find different ways to live on our home, Mother Earth. Since then, we have come to understand that the way we live is determined by the beliefs and values that shape our behavior. And currently, our dominant perspective is that we are at the top and everything around is for us. This perspective subordinates nature to a place as an accessory for our demands and our needs, a source of raw materials and a place to dump our waste and garbage. What we heard from Renee was a radically different way at looking at our place in the world. And I thank so many of my Indigenous brothers and sisters around the world who've taught me everything there is to know about what we call environmental issues. You see, the Indigenous worldview is founded on an understanding that nature is the very source of our lives and livelihood. She gives us the air we breathe, the water we drink, the soil that grows our food, the energy of sunlight captured by photosynthesis, and the web of all living things that cleanses, creates, and replenishes these sacred elements. How do we non-Indigenous people acquire this perspective? One way is through the things that we do. We learn by listening, watching, feeling, and doing. That's what grassroots activism and transformation are all about. We are learning through the projects that you are all involved with. Often Indigenous people are involved in or leading community level projects too. That's what we certainly have found out in our experience in Quebec. The work you're doing, all of you, is helping put us on a different and a better path. You know, we used
Wow, that's amazing. It gives me goosebumps just watching it all over again and having those tears of joy that I had last night as well, and jumping up and down and screaming and hollering. It is just such a wonderful, wonderful way to be able to be part of this inaugural event with David Suzuki. It's really quite an honor. And almost breathtaking. I know that there's people that are asking if they can come to the garden and when they can come and visit and how they can support. And yes, we're all planning that right now. We're trying to have a bit of an open house on Monday from 4 to 6. But we're kind of deciding if we're going to do it or not, because there's also a great big monster truck event that's happening. So unless you don't mind getting a dusty and coming seeing these monster trucks, and that's fine, but we're kind of out of the way. And then again, how you can support the garden and Grandmother's Voice, and you can just visit grandmothersvoice.com and decide how you want to participate. We're all going to be, it's going to be open come September, and probably even before then in the summer. We have our second lacrosse workshop there happening on Saturday, and that's really, really exciting as well. So we're slowly taking up space at Country Heritage Park. But as soon as we are open and we're able to have more than 10 people, by all means, every single one of you are invited. You do not need an invitation, just come. Come to Country Heritage Park on Tremaine Road and just look for us and we'll be there. And it's just been such a wonderful, wonderful journey. And we're so thrilled and honored for the community that you have a place to come. You have a place to come after COVID. You have a place to come and be with us and bring a picnic lunch. I feel that that's a place that we're going to be having an awful lot of picnics and having just great conversation, which is absolutely wonderful. You know, we've traveled on this road with each of you for the last 8 weeks, and we've covered an awful lot of information, and we're still not done. I think we got maybe through three weeks, because we had it, like I said a couple of weeks ago, we had a grand plan of all the things that we wanted to talk about. But when we started looking at what we were offering, it was actually going to take a semester. If you were in university, it would be from September until until December. But anyhow, we're just thrilled that you're here with us and enjoy, and you know, and we talked about some really difficult subjects, right? We talked about certain things that had happened in the past, and also really honoring the unmarked graves, the children that are found in unmarked graves. And that's really shaken Canadians to the core. They didn't know, right? But now that you know, what are you going to do about it, right? Action. That's what we need, is action. We need people writing to their politicians, not giving the political pandering that they're doing with me, but having those really difficult discussions with your MPs and your MPPs, even your town councillors. They all need to know about this and what are they going to do, and springing them into action. Did you want to say anything, Jody?
Well, yeah, I always do.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, because I have a.
And just like, no, you're kind of reviewing everything, right? Kind of what we've done and where we're going and all that stuff. I'm just kind of marinating in all of the conversations and that we have with the grandmas, and, just about Renee speaking about the ancestors, like it was the first, she thought she thanked them first.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk about that after you finish what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And it really is about thanking people that came before us, but also making sure that there's space in place for people that are coming in front of us. And when Indigenous people have ever made any sort of decisions, it's always been thinking about 7 generations. So you really, really have to do an awful lot of thinking about your actions for the next 7 generations, how that's going to impact the next 7 generations. And had we really been thinking about the next 7 generations, I don't think we would be cutting down all of our trees. I don't think that we would be polluting our waters. And I don't think that we would be having endangered species in our world, because that has only happened in maybe the last 2 or 3 generations that this is happening. There is things that we want to talk about. Of course, it's the summertime now that's coming. What are you going to do during the summer? And Daniel's got a list. We'll leave a list in the chat of possible things that you may want to read. Just some light summer reading. There is also the APTN, that is a Aboriginal People's Television Network. And one of our really good cousins, I suppose, Drew Hayden Taylor, he's also got a show on there called Going Native. And so it's a really good, fun show, humor, satirical humor, and, really looking at that and thinking about that. But possibly you might be going on a road trip. You may be going to different places in Ontario. And so I really challenge you to find the traditional territory that you're going to be on. And you can find it on nativeland.ca. And really do a little bit of research. Take some tobacco with you. Even if one of your friends smoke, just ask them for a cigarette. And then take that tobacco with you and place it on the land that you're going to go on, right? We can go on numerous road trips across really close to us. And Daniel, if you don't mind putting up those pictures, because we can go on a road trip that is less than 40 minutes away from Oakville. You're on the QEW, and you can you can totally go to Six Nations, where they too have a beautiful longhouse that they just built maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, with the palisades around there. So you can go in there, and the next slide shows of what it looks like inside the longhouse, which is absolutely beautiful. And they have interpreters there that will tell you, just very similar like you have at Crawford Lake. But Six Nations is a unique place to go. They have, the next slide shows that there's beautiful sunflowers right at Pauline Johnson's homestead, which is just right in Chiefswood Park. Here is a picture of the chapel that's in Brantford, and that's a Mohawk chapel that is 239 years old, and that has a story there too. And there's the outside, and even the Queen at the time and her son Prince Connaught had come to this chapel, and Uncle Mike talks about a story about raising the rafters. And the next one is if you want to go camping. There is a beautiful, right in Chiefswood Park, they have built a whole bunch of these little tiny cabins that you can go glamping if you want, and it's right along the Grand River. And along the Grand River as well is they just started to rent canoes and kayaks. And inside this is where Pauline Johnson's homestead is. And Pauline Johnson wrote Flint and Feather. And, and when you go to Six Nations, there's also, and I didn't put it in there, but when you go to Six Nations, there's also the earcrafts that you can go and buy any sort of gift or present that you want for your family, buy some earrings, some artwork, some soapstone, whatever, and make sure when you go there, and after you finish shopping and doing all your tours and stuff, that you go to the Burger Barn. Like the Burger Barn is probably one of the best burgers in Southern Ontario, and you have food for days. And if you're anything like my aunties, they end up ordering a great big cheesecake, and the cheesecake they ate for 3 days because it was such a big piece of cheesecake. So, just some food for thought. We're coming towards the end, and we just wanted to leave you with some things that you can think about. And we're going to be able to travel and gather soon. And Six Nations is always such a beautiful spot to go to, and I absolutely love going there every single time that I go there. And they're the only place in in all of Canada that has a Carolina forest. So for those, and then a lot of indigenous species of plants, and there's also a greenhouse there that we get an awful lot of our plants from as well, in here with some of our partners with Han and Environment Network. So those are things that I can offer to at least to try and take a little bit of the load off of you, that you have gone down this road with us and done some learning, and some heavy learning, but it still continues. And I really do encourage you to continue to learn, continue to read, and possibly, we'll speak to the town of Oakville, and maybe we'll be able to come back and do this again with you for harvesting our seeds, or harvesting our plants. Instead of planting our seeds, we'll be harvesting in the fall.
I'm
Judy,
sure
do you
when
want to take it over?
I'm sure when you catch up on your emails, you'll see that offer is already in your inbox.
Sounds so fun. Let's go now. I love going there, actually, and I think it's because we know a lot of people there, but there's just a feeling when you drive there. And I think that's what all of the learning that I did with the grandmothers, and what resonates with me always is how they speak about our ancestors, because that's where the name Grandmother's Voice came from, was that it was my ancestor that led me to Renee Thomas Hill. And so I was quite happy when she validated for me that I wasn't going crazy, that I could embrace that. And, through my journey of really understanding my spirituality, was what women were killed for, what people were killed for hundreds, thousands of years ago, was believing that there was something more than this physical world, and maybe a book, to tell the story of how we're supposed to survive in community and with each other. And so what I really love about the culture and why I believe we're doing what we're doing is not just because we have to, but because for me it possibly, you know, it could have been saving my life. I don't know where I would have been if I didn't find my understandings 20 years ago. You know, I don't know that but what I do know is that what they share with us, the connection to Mother Earth is for all people. And that one of the first lessons that I learned about really connecting to culture, well, not culture, I guess my spirit and my thought process, and, you know, kept me like sane, I guess, was they said, pay attention to the animals around you. And I don't know if anybody has ever had this experience where, you know, maybe you're grieving or you're thinking about something that's troubling you or whatever it is, you're out on a beautiful walk and all of a sudden, you know, a butterfly or a cardinal or something shows up and it catches your attention and you're like, oh, it's a cardinal or it's a butterfly. And so we had this conversation about pollinators. I'm really learning. For me, I guess I have to be careful what I pray for because it just seems to pop up. Now that's what ceremony is, but the butterflies represent our ancestors to many people in many cultures. And so it's really amazing that we're in this time right now where we have a lot of gardening to do. And one of that it was shared, I think Wendy, I don't know if you're on here, but Wendy with Sustainable Milton took the beautiful picture of the butterfly. It was like we knew that what we were doing over there was really important when they started to show up. And then, you know, this week I was in Windsor and someone messaged me and said, any chance you're by this address? And I said, oh, hi, Wendy. And you'll be happy to know this, that, so I got the text and I said, I'm not that close, but what is it? What do we need? And she said, I found this person who's, you know, has all kinds of plants that he wants to get rid of to, you know, create the monarch, you know, butterfly highway, or, you know, David Suzuki something. And I was like, what? So I get my daughter and my niece in the car and we drive there and we unload all of these plants and we put them in. And this is now, you know, what we're doing. You know, we want to create whatever it is. We're just following spirit. We're following. And so that's really what Indigenous people are all about. They're about connecting to yourself, connecting to your spirit, your ancestors, being conscious about what's around you, watching the earth and the magic and how it actually provides for us and lives together in unity, and just it supports each other. And so that's, you know, that's all we were really, everything that we do when we sit with the grandmas, that's all they talk about is being hope, like igniting your hope, your fire inside, and believing that we are here for a bigger purpose, not war, not fight, not exploitation, not any of those things, but to just love one another. And there was a time in our lives, I think we could probably relate to, if we ever talked about that at work or even out, it was fluffy. Oh, we don't talk about that. But we are really lucky. And that's what Grandmother Renee was meaning about the grandmas have been praying for this. And so when I met them and they said, they took me on my first journey to ceremony, and I was all excited because I had no idea what it was. And there I was in this circle, feeling the energy of these amazing elders who were standing on the earth with their bare feet, believing that, you know, they were healing each other by being there. And for where I was in my life, you know, I've always been a person that loves, but I also am a person that, you know, I have strength where it's like when something needs to be said, it needs to be said, because we're here to get to where we have to go. And sometimes we, you know, beat around the bush and, you know, worry about people's, you know, we have to be gentle and kind with the people, but there's also a time, and there's also a time that we need to move. And that's what Sherry means, like we need to move. And so in all of that, I just would like to offer exactly what Sherry said. We're just being guided by spirit. We both know that we have gifts to, you know, Sherry's gift is education. I'm an entrepreneur. So it's like, oh yeah, let's do it. And if it doesn't work, oh well, you know, let's try something else. But what the bigger gift in all of this is that people have come. And I could name people, you know, on here, but Indigenous people have come forward in Halton, non-Indigenous people have come forward. And the one thing that's wonderful is that we're all here to do this together, and the space is just the first space that we're creating. You know, all of the spaces in Halton are for all of us. And so we can gather wherever we need to, but it's like, what do we want to create? So for those of you who are asking, how do we help, or how do we stay involved? I say sit with yourself outside on the land, ask for your guidance, ask for what your gift is, what you could bring to the community, for yourself. What are you not giving yourself that you're lacking? You've been here for 8 weeks and we're so happy. I believe that you'll know what it is, and we'll be there to wait. We'll be there waiting for you. And that's what Renee said to me when I met her and we realized that we were family. She looked at me and said, I've been waiting for you. Like, after seeing her, wouldn't you just jump all in too? I'd be like, oh my God, what do you want me to do? I'm done. Let's do it. I'm done. Let's try it. And so to see her, like, that was her dream, she said, and can I share a personal story? I'm going to share that story about David Suzuki. I don't think I shared this before with anybody, but so I met Renee, and I really committed to supporting her on the journey and all of the grandmas. And I didn't know Sherry at this time. I was actually still hairstyling, and I found this event on Six Nations, and I was just like, I've always been kind of courageous that way. I just like drove in and I started going to the band office and all these places, going, hey, I found out my family's Indigenous, can you help me? And they're like, yeah, get in line, there's so many people coming home, kind of thing, right? So but I kept going. Like, it was this one course I did was every Wednesday I had did this evening course, and I met a lot of people. It was like 16 weeks long, and it was a woman's understanding of Haudenosaunee history and your place as a woman. And so on the last night, I approached this young woman who's amazing. I just loved her. And I went up to her, gave her my whatever card or something, and said, I'd really love to have time with you. And then she like sized me up and down, like, yeah, okay, what is that? You're in my community and you just want time with me. Anyway, for whatever reason, she reached out to me 2 weeks later, and that's exactly how she started it. I have no idea why I'm calling you, and I have no idea why I'm inviting you to do this, but I have to, my clan mothers have to cook for the chief's lunch. They rotate, or they have like the chiefs gather in all the First Nations around Canada every month. And she said, and they have, there's not enough people to cook for this gathering, and David Suzuki is coming. And I was like, yeah, okay, drop everything. Those hair clients that day, I was like, sorry, I gotta push it to the next day, but I went, and I was in the longhouse. I was there like about, I don't know, 2 hours before they were even starting, because I felt inside that this was an opportunity for me to connect to my culture. And for me, sharing that story, this to me is like full circle, showing me that everything that I've done to move in my life, to believe in what maybe my ancestors or what my grandfather, my grandmothers didn't have the opportunity to be a part of, I get to do that. And so for everything that is happening in this community, first, I'd like to just really thank everyone for making the space for us, because it's not always easy to do this, because people don't know you. And you're making change, and making people uncomfortable, because we have a voice now, and we have brothers and sisters here that live in our community, and we need to connect with you. And this is why we do this. And so I'm just, thank you so much. And thank you, Sherry. I love you so much. I almost said the S word. I almost said that. I love to say that. I love that much with people. So please be vulnerable, reach out to us. We're on social media, call us, tell us what you want to do. We're gonna have volunteer nights. We have connection to the 2 row. So we're actually thinking about creating like canoe trips. So ideas that you guys want, message us, come and be a part, volunteer. Like, we can't do it all. And so, we've had our friends at the school board are like all in. What can we do? We'll help you create programs. You know, would you want to see us? Actually, somebody's reached out to us, said Sherry and I are really good at good partners. So they asked us to do a show for their network. And we're like, we're kind of like, yeah, okay. It's not a big one, but it's still information. So, you know, that's a question to you guys too. Like, would you watch it? You know, would you take time to show up? Would you commit to something like that for us? And anyway, I'm really grateful. Thank you so much.
If
Yeah, well.
it's if it's okay with you guys, I see we have about 15 minutes left, and I know I asked folks if they wanted to send me private messages about some questions or even post them in the chat. Maybe for the last few minutes we can get some of those curiosities and questions in. One question I have, and I apologize if I pause while I'm asking it, just because there is uniqueness to how it's asked and sensitivities, but there's certainly more people finding out about their Indigenous culture heritage, and it appears from this reader's understanding of Indigenous culture that there's a spirituality attached to being an Indigenous person. So how does that connect with, say someone who has either carried a faith or, atheism or a non-belief in spirit or Christianity, and they kind of discover this part of their identity, and there's a spirituality to Indigenous culture, like I hear you talking about ceremony, prayer. How does that intersect? Like, are there atheist Indigenous people? Maybe you guys can speak about that.
That's what
I don't want to call it transition, but how that people are adapting to that part of their culture after so long.
So it's sorry if you don't mind, Sherry. It's just exactly what I was saying about the land, right? So we all believe in our own creator, God, whatever it is for you, but the mother is the land, and that's what connects us to who we are as people. We can believe in God and we can believe in the creator, but we have to believe in ourselves. And to believe in ourselves, if we connect to the land, we feel our spirit, because Indigenous people believe we come here to experience this lifetime in this body. And there was I don't know if you got to watch the event that that Daniel shared today. There was a real Uncle Kevin Deere was on there, and he said some really strong points in there. He was actually quite, in his power when we were talking to him, because he's preparing himself for this weekend and all of the work that he's doing, and probably he sees how many people watch Grandmother's Voice now, so he's like out there doing him. But really that's the spirituality, is they believe like we come with our physical body, but we don't die after, right? So we were spirit before we got here, right? The children, the babies came through their parents. They chose their parents for their life experiences and what they knew that they had to come here to do this lifetime. The parents are to nurture that child for their gifts, because very early in their physical body, they notice their gifts, and then they nurture those gifts. But what happened with colonization is that things got in the way of that relationship, and so that was a disconnection for the children, was that they were not nurtured, and it takes a community. And so for so long, like and everything, like you said, Daniel, people are waking up to it. This is a prophecy right now. We're living in a prophecy. That's why this weekend, if you can visit that link and sign up and listen to some of these elders, like Orville Looking Horse is on there. His daughter he's from Lakota, Dakota. His daughter is actually our ambassador. Her water group, Water Talk, actually won last night for what is it, People's Choice. So I mean, Indigenous people are connected, and they're connected to the earth. And so anyway, I don't know if that explained anything.
Sherry, if feel free to comment. I think it just speaks to the whole. It's very difficult after having such a long period of your life being adapted and learning a certain beliefs, and then if you do learn that that you have a history as an Indigenous person, is adapting to that understanding of your culture require a spiritual change?
Spirituality and organized religion is two different things as well. And spirituality comes from within, like Jody said. Organized religion is taught to you, and sometimes by fear, and sometimes by indoctrination, right? But spirituality really gives you that freedom to really explore who you are and what's your gifts and what people have around you and the animals and looking at everything from that perspective, because animals are our teachers, just like the trees are our teachers. And if anybody has ever read Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Kimmerer, that book tells you about the relationship that you have with the land and your responsibility, right? And this one here, and it's an absolutely beautiful book. And when you read this book, you all of a sudden feel that you're connected to something. And so any of us who have meditated know what that feeling is when you're connected, when you're grounded. If you're doing yoga, you're connected as soon as you get on your mat, right? You're grounding yourself on the mat. And, and I'm not saying that I'm just trying to bring some similarities, that's all. It's not like that, but there are ceremonies that are so deep and just welcoming, that is welcome. It's there for everyone. And it's just absolutely wonderful, because these teachings would have been yours as well. You would have learned the two-row wampum. You would have learned our ceremonies. You would have been participating in, if you were in BC, in the potlatch. You would have been participating in the powwows, right? Like, this was lost to you as well as not only us. So it was robbed from us, but it was meant for all people in Canada. And I truly, and all of our elders have said that it was never meant just for something. Powwows came about because of that prohibition that was happening. And it was through the Wild West Bill show, the Wild West shows, and the Calgary Stampedes, that's how powwows started happening, is because they at least Indigenous people could now gather in large groups, because you were prohibited before from gathering in more than 3. And so with powwow dancing, you could actually gather in more than just one. And of course, be able to dance, that all those dances and ceremonies were taken underground. And so that's kind of the history, a little bit of history about the powwow. But, we plan on having a great big celebration once we can gather out on the land. And after we did our ceremony with to honor the kids, the 215 kids that were found the very first time, and we did ceremony out there. Our grandmothers were saying that the kids have said thank you, and now that they want people to have a dance and to bring people together and have a dance. And so we will be opening up as soon as we can. We have room for 25,000 people, I think, and 30,000 cars. So, we'll be having a big celebration, that's for sure.
It's
There's,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Jody.
It's okay. I just one thing actually just came to me. One of my very first elders, because I mentioned about, like, my husband thought I was losing my mind, and because it's just like, I feel like I hear voices, but I'm not sure that their voices are just like this urge to do something. And but anyway, so basically, what they say is that you come here so pure through spirit, through your mother's womb, through her, and you come here with just knowing that you're safe, and knowing that you're protected and you'll be cared for. And so what happens is, the parents are supposed to do their best for that, and your mind is what is given to you. People give you experiences and words, and so he said, just make sure that every single thing that you think about, or that you're doing, that you're hearing, if it's not positive, if it's not coming to you in a good way, then it's not yours. It was given to you, it was deposited from somewhere, you saw something. And so when we smudge and we say, clear your mind so that you only hear or think the things that serve you and serve others, and you cleanse your ears so that you can only hear the words that will feed your soul and be kind to you, And you only see, when you do your eyes, see the things that, bring beauty to your life, and things that will, that will make you happy, and smelling and eating, and, your throat so that you can speak your truth, and opening your heart so that you can love without thinking that, you're not allowed to love. And unfortunately, the colonization and history of this country is what stopped all of us from believing that we can be who we are. And those are the words of the elders. That's what they try to say, but they're so kind. They're like, you know, they just, they're humble, right? And then you need to do this journey yourself. And me, I'm just like, oh my gosh, why didn't you tell me that in the first place? That would have just got me from here to there. But you have to have the experience. We're so in our minds of, tell me that and I'll learn it, right? But it's that whole disconnection. So your heart is your action in your life, and your mind is, the processing of it. So I don't know. I hope that makes sense to some people.
There's a really nice comment here. It's kind of beautiful, but sad.
Oh, Daniel.
Angela just wrote that the more she learns about Indigenous beliefs, the more she realized that her grandparents and parents were teaching her, but just didn't define it that way due to colonization and, I guess, protection at that time. And it's reassuring to hear the words that have been shared. I think that's kind of beautiful to kind of learn that your family was teaching you while still trying to protect you. It's upsetting that it had to be that way, but kind of beautiful that you can realize that now as an adult. There's a comment. I'm sorry, I don't know the user's name or how to say it, but there's a link to that it's time for Indigenous culture on children's TV. And she posted a link to Globe and Mail. That is true. I have to watch children's TV quite often, and I have started to see that on CBC Network. It's kind of exciting that my daughter will probably know more about this culture at her age than I do now, which is kind of wonderful. Let me just make sure. Oh, there's a question about what's the best way to stay connected with Jody and Sherry. Just acknowledging we have 2 minutes left. So I did mention the prospect of a summer or fall or an ongoing program. Rest assured, the town has noticed the success of this program and totally thrown the ball in Jody and Sherry's court. So they just got to let us know when they want to do it. And I have everyone's email from our program list. So if you have registered for the program, I'll have your email. If you haven't registered and you're just attending through our open link, you can send me a private message with your email, and I'll be sure to add that as well. You can also visit Grandmother's Voice, and it looks like you guys will have a calendar of events coming up soon, which is exciting.
We are just trying to work out logistics. We've been in like full throttle, I guess. Like we've just been go, and it's really her and I, besides the volunteers who are so amazing. They come forward and we're like, hey, what are your ideas? Right on, do it. Let's go. When you know that people have a gift, it's kind of like, well, it's so relieving that you can step away and say, okay, if that's your expertise, or you're better at it than I am. Like I said, I'm a retired hairstylist. Anybody needs their hair done, we can barter.
A lot of people need their hair done right now.
I know. I travel with my scissors now. Because every time I go, someone's like, "Oh, I wish you."
Hey Jody, I will take you up on that offer. Just let me know where to meet you, and
I got it in my backyard. Now I'm just like, I'm making more money now than. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I could for sure.
Well, we just want to.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sherry.
No, go ahead, Danielle. Sorry.
I was just going to say the last thing I wanted to just note for the participants of the program is that Halton Regional Council did pass some actions yesterday for which I don't know necessarily how it was felt across the Indigenous community, but they certainly passed actions yesterday acknowledging Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the calls to action. They acknowledged the UNDRIP, the United Nations Declarations of Rights of Indigenous People. It looks like they have affirmed and intend on using the formal land acknowledgement, as well as permanently flying the flag of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation at their Halton Regional Center. And I guess The other kind of exciting piece would be creating a working partnership with local Indigenous communities through a Halton Indigenous advisory group. So I would suspect that they'll probably be bothering you guys soon for that. But I figured that would be, for those listening and who are interested, it's nice to see that the region is also taking some action, and we'll see where that goes. But 7 o'clock, ladies, the last words go to you.
Yes, no, I just want to say thanks to everybody that has participated with us for the last 8 weeks. And it really, truly is very humbling to see so many people coming back every single week. And, you know, and having, like Jody said earlier, just having that opportunity to have a voice, because for such a long time, it's been siloed or silent. And we're trying to break down those silos in Halton. And that's wonderful that, you know, the town of Oakville is doing that. And we've also sent letters to the rest of the municipalities as well. And we also have an advocacy group that advocates for us, and who has also said the same thing, that they should and must work with Grandmother's Voice, who is the Indigenous Center of Excellence in Halton. And we will be, you know, we have a space, and you all are welcome. And as soon as you see it, you'll understand that what we mean by we are the center of excellence, and we are with a community and have a community of practice. So again, I just want to thank everyone for being here with us, and for letting us just be so real. You know, we sometimes plan this, but most of the time we just go with what Grandma Renee says. Go with your heart, speak from your heart, because then when you speak from your heart, it is the truth. And that's all that we can provide right now, is just telling you the truth, thanking you guys so much, and allowing us to be in your living rooms or your backyards. And it's just a very humbling experience. So miigwech.
Yeah, these are so nice messages here. Daniel, can you send them to us? It's so nice.
Yeah, you'll get them tomorrow.
It's been really fun. This has been really great. And thank you all. And Lynn, yes, I see you're a writer, editor. Let's go. Anybody that has a gift that you guys want to even just come out and plant or something. I don't know if you're good at that, come out, because I'm not, but I want to be. So yeah, yeah. Yes. Look at all of these wonderful ideas. We're just, you know, we do have a vision and ideas of what needs to happen out there, but just so you know, it is Indigenous led, with the idea that everything will have Indigenous elements in it, and the essence of the Indigenous Center, but it's for all people. And that's very, very clear of what Grandmother Renee said that this has to be for. And so shoulder to shoulder, yes, it's all of that. So Nyawa, and yeah, please watch for our show. Oh yeah, did you remember that one, Sherry? So this is the Indigenous way of doing the heart. Do you remember this? So there's power in the fingers. So you know how people do this or whatever, and they do the heart? I don't know. Is it like that? You have to really push your fingers together, and it's a really strong, and look at how perfect of that is. I don't know, something like that. It's on one of our videos. Who did it? An uncle? Anyway, I don't want to leave. Did Daniel leave? Did you guys leave?
We're here.
Oh, are you
We're here.
crying? You don't want to go either, right?
No, people are
See?
sending emails.
Aw.
They're sending their emails just so I can add them to the
Yeah, you
list.
guys want my cell phone? It's so much easier. I have like 12,000 emails. I'm gonna start a new one. Message us on Facebook. That's a good one.
I'm going to stop recording, everyone.
Awesome.